Red Dog, as you know, no one listens to this show, right? No one listens. It's not a very popular show. So give us the real deal. Like, is the Triumph, is this a race-winning bike? First time we hit the track, or are we? I mean, and it's totally expected and it's totally understandable. Or are we going to, have to develop this thing a little bit?
Man, I don't even know if that's even my place to say, really.
Well, it's your opinion to give.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, I would say right now, and I've heard, some of the guys, the key players say, this is a 3 to 5 year stepping stone to get to where they want to be. So,
sure, yeah.
So I think what you're saying is realistic. I don't, the other guys have, had a lot of the other teams have way more riders than we do.
Yeah.
So
no, I don't think it's a bad thing to say hey, they got to develop it.
We got to get our feet wet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say, the first time I seen him ride the bike, so September, shortly after.
Yep.
Say combine of 22, I guess that was. Immediately, what I noticed is I started to see him scrub jumps and do things that I felt like were like his strong point, because every rider has stuff that they're good at, whether it's whoops or turns or jumps, and there for a little bit after the Husky thing, I felt like Evan lost some of the things that he was really good at, like staying low on the jumps and scrubbing stuff. So immediately I saw some of those things. So that kind of perked us up, and I could tell right away, his first initial response was I could tell he was excited. I can tell by the way that he
got it. Yeah.
Just rides the bike, because I watched him ride since he was, 4 or 5 years old. So I know when he's riding good and when he's riding bad. I can watch him for 2 or 3 turns and know if he's comfortable or he's not. So, and that's one thing that got me excited about it right away. Obviously Scuba was there. And then, so some of the people that were already planning on coming we already had a relationship with. So,
yep.
So I think, man, I don't think people realize how hard it is to get on a factory team, to get a ride out of amateurs, to land where you want to land. And I should know because I already did it. I did pro 18 years, and I was coaching Kennard and Hampshire and Davalos and Will Swole and Mel Ross, all these guys coming through. But when you have your kid doing it, you don't really realize how hard it is to nail one of those rides. Because you need that support, to really, go to that next level. Like me, I went from making podiums with RRP to going to factory Suzuki in '95, and I won my first Supercross, the first race.
Yep.
So it makes such a big difference to have a good team. So I feel very, very fortunate that he landed somewhere in 24 and 25. That he can at least, give this thing a shot.
Yeah, when you sit back and when it's all over or whatever, you can be like, we got a shot. We got a fair shot on a good team, good support. You got it.
And
right?
good people around you. That's the big thing.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just super difficult. And, we've seen a lot of good riders come in, and, I watched the pre-race show on AC, man. I thought nobody was going to beat AC. And obviously he's done great, but the Jet Reynolds was a guy in our class that, he never lost anything.
Yeah, he was can't
miss.
Yep.
We wouldn't even see him or see LeBlanc at the races unless they came to Florida and rode sand. And and then to see LeBlanc is already done, and see some of those guys go in a year or two, they go in a little early, and then all of a sudden they struggle to impress people enough, so then they just move on to the next guy. And I think, I feel like back in the day, maybe Denny's time, my time, you stuck around a little longer. Nowadays, it's is he going to make the cut? Nope, he's gone. And so it's really difficult to, I think, not only come back from that, but also mentally come back from those things.
Obviously, injuries have played a big key, but I've had so many people tell me that if you had gone back 5 years and said, hey, man, Jet Reynolds is not going to have a great pro career to start, they would have said, you're crazy. You are crazy.
Since Cobras, right? He was winning, dominating.
Yeah, and look, he's had injuries and he's had Club MX, and he could still make something of him. I'm not trying to write Jet Reynolds off here, but if you had gone back and told these people at OEMs, these smart people, guys I respect, they would have said that's not possible. He's the next thing.
Well, I was with Trey out in California. He was doing a test session. We're at Milestone, and he was on a Supercross track, and there was a kid ripping around on the outdoor track. and that was like a 7 to 8. He was on a Cobra, and Evan's almost a year younger than him, but rode the same age group. And then I had to go over and watch this kid ride because I'm not kidding you. He was passing 450s. He was holding it wide open. Then I went over and I talked to his dad, and, we always kind of communicated and talked throughout the years. Super good guy. And I could not believe, I'm like, I don't even want Evan to go that fast on a 50. I don't know if I want him to go that fast, period. But he was that good at that young age. And the injuries kind of caught him right there at the end of his amateur career. Now everybody's doubting him, but I mean, he may come back and have a great long career.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can't.
Well, that's kind of the double-edged sword of getting that first ride would be star or something. It's like, okay, if you don't succeed there, you're going to be, okay, you got the dream ride at the time, and all of a sudden, I mean, I don't know how many guys have gone there and put in 6 months or a year, and then you're gone.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And then no one else gives them a shot because they feel like, oh, if you didn't succeed there, you're not going to see anywhere. So it's such a brutal double-edged sword.
LeBlanc is out of the sport from what I know. He doesn't race anymore. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, he doesn't race anymore. And he was a great talent. Like, I mean, just a really good rider. Right. I hear he's super happy now. Like, he's got like a normal job and he's pumped. So if he's happy, then
that's all that matters.
Exactly. Then that's great. Mitch said something to me like a year ago. He goes, I don't know why all these guys just want to come in at like 16, 17. He goes, none of my guys ever win until they're like 21.
Yeah.
And he goes, everybody's in such a hurry to get in. And like, so in the Evans Husky deal, the whole goal was to go pro at 24 and 25. And, they made him stay down in super minis when he probably should have been on 125s.
Yeah.
They made him stay on 125s when everybody else went at 250s. But we were waiting for him to grow and mature. And like, we knew that, watching Justin Brayton at 36 years old rip around the track, and everybody wants to like do something at 16 or 17, but your big money is not going to come until you're on 450s and you're older.
Well, look at the difference between AC at 16. Was he 5 foot?
Yeah.
I mean, 6'3" now.
Well,
he was a child at that time.
Even just look at like because of these ridiculous 125 Supercross rules, 250 Supercross rules now, you look like RJ Hampshire is 30 years old. He's 27 or 28.
Year. I think this is his 11th
Like, he's on a factory bike. Yeah. He's got so much experience.
Yeah.
He's physically stronger.
I want to watch him on a 450.
Like, it's such an advantage over some kid coming in.
And I learned this year, too, just recently, that Loretta's, I think, are allowing B riders an extra year. I think if you win, you can still come back and ride B the next year because they don't want to be responsible for maybe pushing too quickly.
There's been a lot of that. Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's good.
And there's some kids that, like a Jet Lawrence came in and, man, he did great. Like, but Jet Lawrence was on a 250 at, I think, 14 years old in Europe. So, by the time he got here and he was 16, he was already 2 years into 250s. At 16, Evan was only on 125. It was like first year on 125. So, there's a big, big difference. And Jet's a big kid, and everybody's got their different, reasons that they want to go up. But anymore, it's very rare, I think, that, those young kids at 16, like I turned pro at 16, come in and do like, really stellar. It's just, like you said, it's hard. Yeah. Evan was riding with Jeremy Martin the other day, and I'm watching Jeremy Martin, and then I pull him up on Instagram and I follow him, and I'm like, dude, he won 2 championships, like stuff I wasn't even thinking about. Like, and Evan's riding on the track with him, and I'm like, dude, he's going to have to race this guy.
Yeah.
And it's a big difference going from a mini to a 125 and going from a mini to a 250 4-stroke.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be bigger, stronger. I mean, it's basically going from, not even having 125s when we were kids. Imagine just going from, 15-year-old 12 to 15, 105 to 250 class.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Renthal, bringing you Tim Ferry on the show. Timmy, we got a call here from Morgan. Morgan, welcome to the Pulp MX show. What's your question for the great Tim Ferry?
Hey, thanks, Steve, for taking my call. I want to say thank you to Talon and Travis Marks, and these guys are doing a great job behind the scenes. I know you're the front runner and everything, but these guys doing a great job.
Love this guy right here.
You just saved that whole comment.